that I listened to her story, and I did. And after I listened to her story, I convinced her that we need to have that story told and ride along. And she accepted. So I'm very happy to have my next guest on the program today. She's right now in Atlanta. I want everybody to give her a really nice ride along welcome to my next guest. Her name is Lisa Britt, and she right now is in Atlanta. Lisa, welcome to Ride Along. How are you doing today? Lisa, no audio again. No audio again. I don't know what just happened. Lisa, you there? All right, Lisa. This is what we're gonna do, Lisa. I'll cut you off again, and I'll call you back again. All right?
Okay.
No. Hold on, Lisa. No, stay. I got you now. I got you. You there, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Audio is good. Audio is kicking. Nice. Lovely.
I'm great.
Lisa, welcome to Ride Along. And as I said, it was nice of you reaching out to us, and I really appreciate it. And I believe your story today will really change a lot of people's life, enlighten and empower people that's going through difficulties, that went through difficulties in their life. Your story would serve as that, and a lot of people would learn. People will learn a lot from your story here today. So, guys, Lisa, everybody press love for Lisa. Say hi to Lisa. We have Melvin Wright saying hi, Lisa. Amelia, they're showing a lot of love for you. Everybody, just press that love button. Just press that love button right now for Lisa. Press it for Lisa. She is here and ready to share her story. Gotta fix one last thing there on Lisa's camera though.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Hold on, Lisa. There we go. Right. Lisa, let's start.
Yes.
Let's start. I know we're going to have a long program today. Let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa. The young Lisa, the growing up Lisa. Where you from, where you grew up, and a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Uh-huh.
But I moved to Atlanta when I was 3 years old after my mom and dad got a divorce.
Right.
And growing up, I really missed my dad. I only got a chance to see him in the summertime, so that was very exciting.
Uh-huh.
And just missing that male role model that I really wanted.
Right.
Even though my mother had remarried, it just wasn't the same without my dad.
Wow.
And so at a very, very young age
Uh-huh.
of 12, I was promiscuous. I was having sex. And I don't wish that on no one at that age to be having sex.
Right.
And so I was so fascinated over white men at the time.
What age was that? When you say really early age, around what age?
I was 12 years old when I was having sex.
Uh-huh.
And I was sneaking around. I was sneaking around a lot with this one particular person.
Uh-huh.
And when I got into the 11th grade, my mom, she finally found out, and she was like, okay, she told him either you're going to marry her or you're going to go to jail. And
so hold on,
he
Lisa.
said,
Let's go back to that point there. You said at about 12 years old you was having sex, you was promiscuous. Were you having sex with a lot of people or just one particular person?
Just one particular person at the time.
And did your mom know that you was having sex? Did you ever tell her? Did you tell anybody?
Age. Not at that age. I mean, of course, I told my neighborhood friends and stuff like that, but my mom didn't know until I was about 17. And people started coming to her and telling her that I was having sex.
Wow.
At a young age.
And how old was the guy at the time?
Well, when we started dating, when I started having sex at 12, he was 25.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 25, and he was a white man.
What was the attraction that you had for white men? What was it? Did you just didn't like black men, or you just had a very strong connection with white men?
What it was, back in the day, soap operas was very popular. And I liked the way they portrayed white men, how they treated their women. And so that right there attracted me to white men. And I found one in my neighborhood that I was very attracted to.
Right. So, so your father didn't know you had any friends? Did it ever get out uh, in your family
Between
circle?
12 and 17,
Yeah, between that early period.
I mean, I had friends that I played with, in the neighborhood and things like that.
Okay, okay. All right. So let's go forward. Having, I mean, listen, it's a judge-free zone. People, I know people would say, "What? You having sex at 12? Wow, it's an abomination." But I mean, it happens. It's probably not the best age, because at that age you're still developing in so much ways, and probably, I mean, and it's kind of illegal too, because if he was caught having sex with a 12-year-old, he could have did some time. So
Exactly.
yeah. So fast forward, talk to us about, okay, the relationship and where the relationship ended up with you and the white guy.
Okay, well, we got married when I was 17, and after I graduated from high school, I had my first son by him. He's 29 now.
Uh huh.
And then I have another son by him. He's 21 now.
Okay.
And we got a divorce. Things happen, in the marriage, and we finally got a divorce. And so that's how that I ended that relationship.
So was it a good relationship for you? Did you get all you wanted out of the relationship? People
Well, I did. I told my dad through the summers when I seen him, I said, Dad, I'm gonna marry me a white man when I get older.
uh huh.
And he laughed it off, but it really happened.
Yeah, we have Lydia James in the chat is saying 12 is a baby to me. A lot of you all opening up your eyes like you don't know that 12 is. Some of you started. People, as I said, people started having sex pretty early. Um, so I get it, But the relationship didn't just. It wasn't just you being promiscuous with that person. It actually cultivated into a relationship where you had kids with a guy. You married the guy. You have two children with him,
Yes,
right? So go ahead.
yes.
Tell us about what else happened in that relationship. Was it a fulfilling relationship for you? Besides the sex and the relationship and all that stuff, did you get everything out of the relationship that you wanted?
At the beginning, yes, it was fulfilling. And then I realized I wanted to do more. I wanted to get out because I had missed my whole childhood. Um, and he was a truck driver, always over the road. And when he came home, it's like he really didn't want to do anything. So me, being promiscuous like I was, I found another person that I was attracted to that was also white.
Okay.
And so that's what kind of ended the relationship because when I was still married to him, and then eventually we got a divorce.
Right. Right.
But I
So
do agree, I was too young.
yeah, yeah. So when the relationship ended with the first white guy, you got into the relationship with the second white guy. What came out of that second relationship?
Nothing, nothing at all. The only thing, we, went to movies and things like that, but really nothing, because he went on and went into the service.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that relationship ended. I mean, were you a very were you having sex with different partners, or it was just the person that you was in a relationship with at the
It
time?
was just those two. It
Okay.
was just those two. And I realized that I was just looking for love in the wrong places. I was just looking for love. And at that age, you shouldn't be looking for love. You should be in school and educating yourself. But, once a girl start having sex, it's like those feelings, those emotions kick in, and you really can't tell that girl nothing. I don't wish that on no no young child to be having sex at all, because you know, the first guy, that was actually statutory rape. And I just don't wish that on no one.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So walk us through now. Life continued. Life continued. How? What happened? What transpired as you went through the motions of life after that point?
Okay, later on, like in my early 30s, I met another guy, and this particular guy happened to be black.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I met him through a friend of mine, and at first, you know, I wasn't interested in him. And probably maybe months went on, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just give him a try. And I met him. Um, we were dating. We started using condoms, and then we just decided not to use condoms anymore.
Right. That relationship. Um, did you? Was it a fulfilling love relationship for you?
To me, it was because I thought we was going to get married, and found out like he was the type of person that was in and out of jail. And one particular time, he went to jail, and when you go to jail, when you want to make a phone call, you usually make a phone call collecting from a payphone.
Right.
Well, this particular time, he called me from an office phone in jail, and I was very surprised. And I said, how do you get special privileges to use an office phone in jail?
Right.
And he was like, well, I have something to tell you. But he couldn't get it out. You know, he's very hesitant.
Uh huh.
So I told him to put the officer on the phone to let him use the office phone.
Uh huh.
And the officer gets on the phone and said, Lisa, so and so, which was my boyfriend at the time,
Uh huh.
can't tell the name, said that he was tested positive for HIV and that I needed to get tested, and that they were having him call all of his sexual partners.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Let me just digest that a little bit more and talk to my audience. Guys, we're talking here with Lisa, telling the story of growing up and being promiscuous at the age of 12. Initially, not very attracted to black men. Her first relationship at 12 years old, sexual relationship. The guy was 12. I mean, she was 12. The guy was 25. Two children came out of that relationship. That relationship ended. Ended up with a second guy. He was also white. That relationship didn't go anywhere much. Third guy, a black guy. That relationship ended where they started to date, having sex, protected and unprotected. The guy was on and off from jail, and we're at the point where no, she got a call. All right, she got a call, not from the jail phone, but instead an office phone. So he's at in an office in the jail making the call to tell her something. So that's where we are right now. If you just came in, so why didn't he not? Why? What was so important? What was so big that he couldn't tell you? What was it that he wanted to tell you but couldn't tell you?
He wanted to tell me that they had tested him positive for HIV, and he was very hesitant. And I realized he was in denial, that he couldn't get it out. He was too scared to tell me. And so I realized, okay, now I need to go get tested.
Hmm.
And I went on and scheduled an appointment
Uh huh.
with my doctor to get tested. And a week later, the doctor called me back, and I went into the office, the doctor's office, and the doctor said, Lisa, your test results came back positive for HIV.
Oh. Oh.
Yes, and that was in my early 30s.
Hold up. So
And
so when he told you that he was, or when the doctor told you that your boyfriend, who you know you had unprotected sex with, is tested positive for HIV, what was going through your mind at that point?
at that point, the very first thought, and is what I told my doctor, I said, Doctor, If I didn't have the Lord on my side, I would be a nervous wreck. And then my true feelings came out. I started crying,
Uh-huh.
and I happened to look at the doctor, and the doctor actually was a black female, and she was crying, and I was like, wow. I've never seen a doctor cry for their patients before. And eventually we dried our eyes, and she went on and gave me the name of an ID doctor, which stands for infectious disease doctor. She gave me the name, the address, and the phone number so I can go ahead and make an appointment so I can start, being seen for HIV.
Did you have during the relationship, right, with this guy, um, did you have any thought or any concern that he might be doing something that might be dangerous? Was he, I mean, did you have any idea that he might be doing something outside of the relationship?
At the beginning, no. Um, After he got out of jail, um, his mom had bought him a house, and after he got out of jail, we went to his house, his new house, and we was living together as a couple. And I started getting, I started seeing blue bags, empty little small blue bags on the floor under the bed.
Uh-huh.
And I was asking, what is this? And he was like, oh, my friend, I'm sorry, my friend left this over here. Come to find out, it was bags, it was traces of cocaine in the bag. And then we
Oh.
started getting phone calls, and they would hang up. I found out then that he was cheating on me with two teenagers.
Oh. So he was shooting cocaine. Was it, I mean, he was snorting cocaine. Did he do
He was
needle?
snorting cocaine, yes,
Did he
and
have any
leaving the bags
indication that he
around the house.
was he doing any needles or anything?
No, no needles.
No needles. So you found out that he was also cheating on you with two teenagers?
With two teenage girls, yes.
How did you find that out?
By phone calls, them calling, I answer, they hang up, and he, was in denial, and my woman instinct knew that he wasn't going to tell me what he was doing. And eventually, I finally spoke to one of them and told him that, you know, this was my man at the time. We're in love. You need to leave him alone. And that was just the love blind,
Right.
and I got a hold of the other girl, got in contact with her, and told her the same thing. And it was a surprise because their reaction was they can't leave him alone because they are so-called in love with him too.
Oh. So I'm trying to find out if you ever found out how he contracted it or who gave it to him. Did he ever tell you that? Or did you
Never,
ask him?
never found out.
Okay. All
I
right.
never found out.
All right. So he's dating these teenagers. You found out that you are also contracted. You also contracted the HIV from him. What's the next step for you?
The next step for me was to really get my life together
Uh-huh.
and realizing that, okay, he don't love me. He don't love me at all. And he wasn't ready to be committed into a one woman relationship. And so I left him. I did. I left him. It was hard, but I did.
And that's the guy that that contracted the virus from, correct?
Yes, that's the guy that I contracted it from.
Okay.
And I understand that it's not just his fault also because it takes two to tango.
Right.
It was my decision, to have unprotected sex with him, even though I didn't know his status. or anything like that. So I can't just sit here and blame him for giving it to me, because I was at fault also by not continuing to have protected sex.
Right. Okay. So you broke it off with him, and you started to take your medications, and I guess when you went to the doctor, they told you all the things that you could have done, right? Did they counsel you, or did you go through a period of time where you just felt depressed, like, yo, I can't live with this, I just want to die? Did you go through that phase?
I went through the phase of depression, denial, angry. Why me, God? I'm tainted. Nobody's going to want me. Nobody's going to want to date me. And at the time, me being diagnosed with HIV, my T cells, which is the white blood cells, they were good. They were still fighting off the virus. Well, I didn't have to take any HIV meds. I didn't have to take any meds. And so I just, I was just decided to better my life. When the nurse came in from the ID doctor office,
Uh-huh.
she was like, Lisa, there are thousands of women living positive lives with HIV and AIDS. And I thought, positive lives? How can you say they're living positive lives and they are positive with HIV? And she was like, why don't you find a women's support group,
Right.
a HIV women's support group?
Right.
And I was like, no, I don't want to tell strangers that I'm positive. And God was telling me, go find one. And I did. I found one called Jules, because us women, we are Jules.
Yes.
And they were sitting in a circle. Some of them was telling their stories and some of them were not. And when I heard the ones that were telling their story of how they became infected, I was like, wow, if they can do it, I know I can do it. And so the very first time when I went to the support group, I started sharing my testimony.
Yes.
Yes.
It's, I'm watching the chat room as well, and as I'm talking to you here, and a couple questions that kind of going on there. They said, okay, you had two previous relationship with two white guys before the black guy. How did you positively know? I guess you explained that. Like, okay, I guess you explained that because he told you that he has HIV. But someone was asking, how were you so sure that it wasn't the white guy that gave it to you? But I guess you answered that question because he told you, or his doctors told you that he was tested positive. That's how you knew. All right, moving forward. So you started to freely tell your story to people, get in the women's support group, which is good because some people think that having HIV means that you're gonna die. But by being involved in a support group and understanding that there is so much things that you could do to live healthy, positive lives, you went ahead
Correct.
and got a hold of all this information and you started to implement those ideas. Tell us about what you did and how you were able to build back up your T cells and build back up your health.
Okay. Well, like I said, at the beginning, I didn't have to take any meds because my T cells were fine. My viral load was low, and that the viral load actually tells you like how much of the virus is in your body.
Right.
And so like I said, the very first year when I found out, I joined the women's support group. I prayed and asked God to help educate me on this virus. And at the time I wasn't working. I prayed to God to help me get a job, and I wind up getting a job in the field of HIV and AIDS, working for a company called Sister Love Inc. And they hired me as a program assistant. And what I did, I facilitated HIV/AIDS workshops, teaching women how to move beyond understanding and awareness to leadership and activism as it relates to being HIV positive.
Yeah.
And from then on, I learned how to network with different organizations, and I went to different events, different meetings. I also went to other women's support groups to understand, you know, how people feel, because everybody's story is different.
Yes.
Everybody went through things different.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, I want everyone that's watching to do this for me right now. It is hard enough to come on and share your story with 5 people, 10 people. It's even more difficult when you have to tell your story and your truth to the world. So I want everybody that's watching right now to do me a favor and press the love button right now so that we could hear and build up the positive vibe in Lisa so she could continue to tell her story because it gets topsy turvy shortly. So I want everybody that's watching to press the love right now. Press the love, press it, press it, press it. Everybody press the love to show support and strength for Lisa because it's difficult to share your story, right? And she admitted things already that a lot of you don't even talk about. All right, so it's difficult. So I want you guys to keep pressing the love for Lisa, um,
Thank
and
you.
show her the support right now. Lisa, let's talk about your love life now, because of course a lot of people when they have HIV they think that nobody would date them, and then if you go to someone and you date it and you meet someone and you have HIV now, how do you tell them that you have HIV and how do you how do you deal with a relationship? So how was love for you? Did you find love?
Um, yeah, I actually did. After I, build up the courage to actually tell, you know, men that I'm HIV positive, because I believe that when you find out that you're HIV positive, you need to tell a person that you want to be sexually involved with that you are, because it gives them the opportunity to decide if they want to be with you or not.
Right.
And of course, I got rejected a couple of times, and I understood that. It didn't make me mad. I just understood, it was their choice. And so one particular time, I told this guy that I had met
Uh-huh.
that I'm HIV positive, and I would like, to get to know him. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And so
So hold
one
up.
night I
So
went
you
over to his
lead. So
house.
hold up, Lisa. You lead with that statement. You would go and you would see somebody that you love, and you would lead off with, "Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm HIV positive." That's how you would start.
I
Wow.
wouldn't say, hi, my name is Lisa, I'm HIV positive. I would just, start a conversation with them. And then, in the middle of the conversation, I would tell them that I'm HIV positive.
Which is the right thing to
And
do. Which is
he
the
was
right thing.
like, he was shocked
Uh huh.
that I told him, because a lot of women and men will not tell that
So
they're positive.
hold up. So you saying that there's people out there that don't even share that information at all.
No, you have people that be in a relationship, not necessarily just having sex, but just being in a relationship,
Yeah.
and they will not tell them that they're positive because, one, they might be scared, or they don't want to be, rejected. And I, as strong as I was, after being educated more, I realized I have to tell that I'm HIV positive. I don't want to be in a position where I'm committing attempted murder. Even if I have protected sex with someone and didn't tell them, that's still called attempted murder. Because what if the condom come off by
Right.
mistake?
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
right?
Someone just asked a question there, which kind of made me look a little bit. They said, Carla Smith. She said, before the man told you he was positive, were you having any symptoms of any sort?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I wasn't having any symptoms at all. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I look back on that a long time ago, and a lot of people have asked me that question, but I didn't have any symptoms because my T cells were good. They were still strong.
Right. So let's talk about this guy now. The one that you went up to and say, "Hi, how are you?" You guys got to know each other. You told him that you was HIV positive. His reaction was, "Okay, yeah,
His reaction was okay. when I finally went over to his house, and he was like, okay, well, I know what I have to do. I have to use condoms. And he was like, I treated this, if you had diabetes or cancer, I have to get educated on it,
Right, right.
And I was shocked. I was really, really shocked, because I had got rejected in the past. And so, we started using condoms when we finally, got intimate. And in the middle, one time in the middle of us being intimate, when a man comes in a condom
Yeah,
and then the condom started getting loose?
yeah.
Well, when he finally pulled out, the condom did not come out with him. It was stuck inside of me.
Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Wait a minute. So, so, so Lisa,
Yes.
you said you didn't want to commit attempted murder, right?
Yeah.
Um, what was your thoughts at that time? So he pulled out, and the condom, as much as he tried to protect himself, the condom came out, and he was exposed.
Right. And not only was he trying to protect himself, I was trying to protect myself from any other STDs or STIs.
True.
Because I didn't know if he had anything, I didn't know, like if he had HIV or AIDS, he didn't tell me. And if we could have got two strands mixed up.
Yes.
So, but I was really shocked, and
What was his
I was
reaction?
like,
What
oh
was
my
his
God,
reaction? What did he
I
say?
don't want to, get you negative. I mean, positive. I don't want you to have this. And of course, he was scared too. So, the next thing we had to do, the next day, he had to schedule an appointment to get tested.
But do you know about PrEP? Did you guys ever found out about PrEP?
Back then,
No?
no,
Okay.
no, not back in 2003
Uh-huh.
when I was diagnosed. I never heard of PrEP before.
Right.
Never heard of PrEP before back in 2003. I don't even know when they came out with PrEP. I just know it was years later that I found out about it. It's like now they're really advertising it.
Yeah, well, for those of you who are watching who don't know who PrEP is, I learned that from Sharon. I learned that from, and Sharon, if you could paste some information on PrEP in the chat room there so people will get a little more educated about PrEP. I've learned that PrEP, for those of you, for the sake of those who are watching, PrEP is like an added protection when you're having sex. Even if you don't think that you're having sex with someone that may have HIV, just for your own protection, you take PrEP. Right? It will sort of, if in a case like what just happened, if the condom broke or the condom came off, most likely about 90%, 90 in the high 90s percent, that he probably would not have get infected if he was taking PrEP. And that is even recommended for heterosexuals who are, or anybody for that matter, not only heterosexuals, for anybody who is having unprotected sex, or anybody who is having sex, going out there, whatever the case is, PrEP might be a good option for you. So Siobhan, if you could put that information in there on what is PrEP and how could someone get more information on PrEP, that's what it is. So yeah, so he's sitting there, he's there after having sex, and the condom came off. Like, he's sweating now. He's scared.
You said he was sweating?
Well, I mean, I would know, like, what was his reaction?
I mean, he didn't cry or anything. He was a strong man, but he just knew he had to go get tested.
Right.
And when he went to go get tested, it was negative. And like I said, my T cells were good. My viral load was low.
Okay.
But I wasn't even on meds. I wasn't on meds then.
Right.
And after days later, I realized, okay, well, I missed my period when it was time for that to come on. And I found that I got pregnant at that particular time.
Hold up. Wait a minute, Lisa. 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 Lisa.
Getting good, isn't it?
So let me open up my sunroof. Let me get some more light in. It's not funny, guys. I'm not laughing because I'm not trying to make fun of the situation. So I want everyone to understand that. Um, the condom came out. He was scared. You were scared, and later you found out that you were pregnant. What was going through your mind?
I didn't want to bring this baby. I didn't want to bring a baby into the world being HIV positive. That was going through my mind. And when I talked to the doctor, they was like, well, women have babies being HIV positive. All you have to do is start taking the meds after your first trimester. So I started taking the meds after my first trimester.
Right.
And that was a hard thing to do, to start taking those types of medication.
Right.
And after the baby was born, they told me that I would have to give her liquid medicine
Yeah.
to help her from getting the virus still.
Uh-huh.
Because when you're pregnant, the mother's antibodies is inside of the baby.
Right.
And so that was the main thing, to not have her become positive because of me. And
Right.
so when she was born, they tested her, and this is another shocker for you. They tested her.
Uh-huh.
At the time, my antibodies were still in her. Her test results came back positive.
Hold up. Hold up. Now you got my heart beating now. So exactly what you didn't want, that you question it, bringing a child into this world that is HIV positive. You had birth, and at the time, it came back. Was it a C-section or a vaginal birth?
Oh, C-section. C-section.
So although they did the C-section, the child was born HIV positive.
Yes, because of my antibodies was still in her.
Okay, so what's going through your mind now, Lisa? At that time?
Well, they told me once the baby reached a certain age, like 18 months, then they would do a test of her antibodies only. Because by that time, my antibodies was completely out of her body. And so they tested her, which was called the Western block.
Right. But at the time,
it was a
Lisa, when
separate
you there, you were there, you got the test, the results came out positive. I wanna just get your reaction from that point of view. You got that news. What was going through your mind at that time?
What, when she was tested positive?
Yeah, when she was tested positive.
I was scared. I was really scared, but at the same time, I was just remembering what the doctors had told me.
Right.
Just give her meds. I think it was like for the first 6 weeks.
Uh-huh.
I gave her the meds, and then I didn't have to give it to her anymore. After that, they told me that I didn't even have to take any meds anymore because they checked my viral load, my T cells, and they still seen that I was still strong. My T cells were still fighting off the virus, so I stopped taking the meds.
Uh-huh.
Right. So when she became 18 months old and they did the test, Western blot,
Uh-huh.
the test came back negative. And I was like, doctor, are you sure? Are you sure?
Test it
Can
again.
you test her again?
Test it again.
Please, test her again.
Test it again.
They tested her again.
Yes.
And it's negative. And I have the papers today to prove it.
Okay. No, I'm leaving in the moment. You have me on like a cliffhanger here, right? You know that, right? You have me like, and that's your daughter, right?
There she is.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
Good.
Oh.
And she's a youth advocate for HIV and AIDS.
Oh my! How old is she now?
She's 12.
What's her name?
It's Brianna.
Brianna, how are you? Say hi to our audience. Just wait for them. Just wait for them. Wait for
Hi.
everybody. Wow, that's your angel right there.
Yes, and I call her. Her name is Brianna, but I have a vision. Well, I had a vision, and it was called the Butterfly Girls.
Yeah.
And for her being negative, she's my butterfly girl, and that's what I named my organization, the Butterfly Girls.
Wow. So, uh, you have me all speechless now. Uh, wow. So she's an advocate. She goes out there and talk about this and teach people about HIV and the
Oh
virus.
yeah, you know what else she does?
What?
She teaches with the prop. She knows how to put on a condom also.
Oh.
Yes.
So she's well
Because think
educated.
about it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Even though she's in middle school now,
Yeah.
you have elementary school kids that are having sex.
Yes.
So I started teaching her at a very young age. Everywhere I spoke, she went with me and she was listening and she wanted to get involved and she wanted to pass out condoms and literature, and I let her do it. And I just believe, and I know everybody's child is different in the mind. She was already in the field with me from the get go. So she was getting educated as I was speaking. And she's went with me to high schools, to colleges, to churches to help educate about HIV and AIDS. So yes, a lot of people think she's too young to know how to put on a condom. Okay, that's my child. You do whatever you want to do with your child, but this is my child.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the guy that I wound up getting pregnant with,
Yes.
we are married. We got married in 2009. Yes. And he's still negative. And
Woo!
I am undetectable.
You just have a happy story, don't you? You just have like a glory story. This is a Monday
Hey,
story. This is a Monday story.
I
So
give it all to God. I
yeah,
give it all to God. Because a lot of people say, how can you just go and tell people that you're positive? One that gave me the strength, the knowledge, and the courage to do this because he wants me to educate his people.
right.
And that's what I'm doing.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, listen, um, you have me all speechless now. It's so undetectable for the people that's watching again. Give them some information about what does undetectable mean.
Okay. Even though you are still HIV positive,
Yeah,
you can take meds to help suppress the virus.
right,
And and the virus stays suppressed down. And so when you're undetectable, you don't they can't find that virus like at the beginning, before you were undetectable.
right,
So you equals you, undetectable equals untransferable.
right.
So I can have unprotected sex with my husband and he can't get it. And I know a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? That's a whole different story. Doctors are more educated on that than I am. But
Right.
I do know since we've been together since 2003, I'm sorry, not 2003, we've been together since 2004.
Right.
We got married 2009.
Yes.
He's still negative.
That's great. That's great. And as you said, that we are in an age right now where being HIV positive is not a life, is not a death sentence. There are
No, it's
a
not. It's a
lot
new
of
beginning of life.
a new begin. Some people that's where they start their life. We're not advocating, however, being promiscuous. We're not advocating um,
No.
those things. But at the same time, people who are infected, that doesn't mean that you're gonna die tomorrow, right? There's a lot more education about HIV. Um,
Exactly.
I want to also give folks, and I want my moderator who is in the chat, Sharon Jones, to also put some information on PrEP, because I saw someone was asking more information about PrEP. I want you guys to start looking into that drug, right? And also for the folks who might be watching who might be HIV positive or unsure of their status, go get checked out, because if you check out and you know your status, right, that means that they'll be better able to assist you. They'll be better able to prescribe medication for you to start taking. And as you can see, Lisa is living her life. She's doing her thing. She's taking her medication and she is happy. She's married, she got kids, and she's living her life. Um, Lisa, I really applaud you sharing your story with us.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate you taking the time out to do that. What about
Thank
people
you.
who is watching and wants to connect with you? How could they get in touch with you? How could they reach you?
Okay, they can reach me. Okay, my email address is Lisa, Lisa, 48, Britt, Britt, at gmail.com. They can reach me there. I can repeat it, Lisa, 48, Britt, at gmail.com. Um, Also, if they want to donate to my Butterfly Girls
Yes.
page, they can go to GoFundMe.com / Butterfly Girls with an S LLC.
Yes. And we're gonna
And
paste.
also, I do want to let you know that me and Chiron is hosting a slime making class, and also we will be doing youth educational work activity sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to donate to that, it will be at GoFundMe.com, and that's / youth HIV
Mm-hmm.
awareness fun day. And it's actually going to be October the 27th from 2 to 12
Yes.
at Lucky Joe's Park in Norcross, Georgia.
And we're gonna paste, for those of you who didn't get all the dashes and stuff like that, don't worry about it. We'll paste the links in the Ride Along support group so you can get more information. I'll also paste your connection so folks can get in touch with you as well. It's all about building communities. It's all about strengthening each other. It's all about getting information. Knowledge is key. And we thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and information with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank
And we're
you.
absolutely gonna keep in touch with you. And you could come back anytime. You could come back anytime.
Thank
Cause this
you.
is this is your home. This is your home. All right. We
I appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
It's my pleasure. I love it.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All
Yeah.
right. Bye bye.
Bye. Yeah, boy. Boy. That, my friends, was a cliffhanger. That, my friend, had me on the tip of my seat. Sometimes when I talk to a guest, I purposely try to don't get all the information, right? Because what happened is I don't want to preempt it. I want to learn it. When you are learning the story, but that one had me on the edge of my seat. No lie. That one had me. I'd like to thank Lisa for sharing her story here with us. Thanks to Sharon for being our moderator. Thanks to everyone who shared the program. Thanks to Charlotte Nurse, Amelia McLeod, Colleen Lewis, everyone. Ian Baker, if you just came in, I want you guys to go back and watch the program all over again and share the program on a friend's page. We appreciate you so much, guys, on behalf of all the production team right here at Ride Along. Don't forget, please go and subscribe to Ride Along on YouTube. Ride Along on YouTube, youtube.com/Ride Along Live. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Yeah, that's where all the information happens. We post over there regularly. We have regular stories on YouTube. Also, if you have a story to share, you have a story to tell, don't hesitate. Come on right here. We'd love to hear you. And you may have a story that you want to share, but you're scared. You don't want to show your face. We have this new thing that we're coming out with on YouTube called Dark Ride. Yeah, Dark Ride. So nobody gonna see your face. We could even disguise your voice. If you have a story to tell and you don't want the world to see you, we understand. You could come on the Dark Ride. Still share your story. Still reach the world. All right? If you want to advertise right here and ride along, yeah, that's what keep putting gas in the tank. Because if we're not gas in the tank, we can't ride. We can't go nowhere. We can't do nothing. So if you want to advertise and ride along, feel free. Please inbox us, facebook.com/ridealong.